Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is Thursday night, and you know that means it's match preview evening. And I'm pleased to say that tonight, ahead of our weekend meeting with Ipswich Town, yes, those that were responsible for Steve Evans sacking not 3.5 weeks ago, I'm joined by the Cruncher. You will know him on Twitter. He's part of the Talking Town podcast. You can find him at the Cruncher76 on social media and also at Talking Town. ITFC is the pod. I'll put all their details in the description at the end of the video. First of all, mate, thank you for coming on. Hope you're well and looking forward to Saturday.
Currently sat in my car, Matt. My boy's training. Shout out to Archie. And I thought I need some light, so I've got literally all the lights on in the car. So hopefully this is good enough for you, because I didn't fancy standing outside in the cold for 20 minutes chatting to you.
Just hope you don't message me later and say that you've got a flat battery and can't get home again.
I'll be all right.
We'll see what happens. Right, form over the last six. There's a bit of green on the Gills one, which is a little bit weird. I've not been used to that for the last 3 months. But Gills, last six in the league, it's 3 defeats, then a draw, then another defeat, and then a win Tuesday night. I did say that, right, Gills fans? Don't adjust your sets. I did say we won on Tuesday. 3 points in Neil Harris's first game in charge at home to a very average Crewe Alexandra side. And chances are we'll probably go down with them still and Doncaster, but it's given us a little bit of hope and a little bit of momentum going into the rest of the campaign. In terms of Kieran McKenna's men, decent form, 12 points from the last 18 available, which is 4 wins and 2 defeats. And at home, you've been fairly strong as well. It's 3 wins, 2 draws and a solitary loss, giving you 10 points from the last half dozen. And Gills on the road, it doesn't make pretty reading. There's 2 draws and 4 defeats in the last 6, so it's just 2 points. But they were at decent sides. The points were Sheffield Wednesday in November and MK Dons in January. But in between, there's been some absolute rubbish. He picked up, I think it's fair to say, since Kieran McKenna coming. I don't know what your thoughts were on Paul Cook, but he started really well.
Yeah, I was a Paul Cook fan, but looking back now, I think he was sort of old school. You know, Paul Cook, he's got a good record in this league, wherever he's been. Got teams promoted, and I thought at the time when he came in, I thought, yeah, good fit, but it didn't work out. Didn't have the right coaches with him, Matt. You know, Liam Richardson, obviously he was with him before, and I think everybody thought when Cook took over, Richardson will probably see the season out at Wigan, and then he'll come with him. But obviously done well there, kept him up, and then he's gone on and look, he's done a great job this season. So, yeah, Cookie, wish him the best of luck wherever he pops up again, because he'll get another job. He's a good manager.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Kieran McKenna. Yeah, it was a surprising appointment, but I think with the way that they want to run the club, you know, Mark Ashton now, I think they want to go down that route of a younger coach. Obviously, look, he had to retire. He had an injury when he was 20, because people say he's a bit of a novice. But when you look at his coaching career, Spurs, he's done some coaching there. I think he was at Nottingham Forest. Obviously at United, you know, he worked under Jose, was his assistant, and then he was with Solskjaer. Ralph Rangnick wanted to keep him, so he comes with high regard. And to be honest, the first 6 games, it's been decent. We've had a couple of ropey performances in there away at Bolton, where we lost 2-0, and then I went to on Saturday at Hillsborough.
Yeah,
and we didn't lay a glove on them. We took £3,000 up there, didn't have a shot on target. And looking at that performance, it was probably a mixture of a Paul Lambert and a Paul Cook performance. But I think if you said the first 6 games he'd win 4 and you'd get a couple of defeats, I think we probably all would have taken that, Matt. You know, so it's still a big task for us to get in the playoffs. You know, there's 17 games to go. We're 9 points off Oxford, so realistically, we are going to have to go on one hell of a run, probably like championship form. You know, top 2. I realistically think we're probably going to need. We're on 41 points at the minute. We're probably going to need 11, possibly 12 wins to get us in there. And we've got some kind fixtures coming up, but we all know it's played on the grass. You know, people say on paper, but it doesn't count for anything. And that's where we are where we are now, because we had teams at the start of the season, all due respect to them. We had Morecambe, first game drew, Burton away we lost, Cheltenham away we lost, AFC Wimbledon at home we drew. And that's why we are where we are now. And I think that's probably end of the season, we're probably going to finish about 8th. Probably that's for me. But I'm not giving up, but you never know in this league, do you?
Yeah, it's because, like you said, you're going at 2 points a game since McKenna's come in, but obviously there's a big difference between doing it over 6 games and then doing it over the remaining sort of 18 or 19, which is probably what you're going to have to go at to get, or just under to get into the top 6. Usually you're looking at sort of 74 points for 6. So, yeah, it'd be a big ask. Not quite as big an ask as probably what we've got to go at just to get out of the bottom 4, but it'd be an interesting end of the season, I think, for both teams. And like you say, there's probably more hope than expectation from both sets of fan bases that we can get to where we want to be, but it's probably unlikely.
I think that's a football fan, isn't it, Matt? It's the hope that kills you, you know.
It is, yeah. I've probably used that phrase a million times this season.
Definitely.
But we'll keep going. We'll keep trying. We've just spoken before I started recording, and I was adamant I wasn't doing any more away games for the rest of the season after getting us watching us get absolutely battered for 7 at home to Oxford last weekend. But I'm coming up to Portman Road on Saturday now, so we'll see what happens. Be a good day out. We had the instant Neil Harris effect, obviously won on Tuesday. Very good for first 45 minutes. Probably could have been 3 or 4 up, and then tiredness, nerves, understandably kicked in, and we started sinking and dropping a bit deeper and a bit deeper. But the big difference between Neil Harris's Gillingham on Tuesday and what we've seen beforehand was that we were willing to stick our head and our feet and any sort of part of our body in front of everything to make sure that it didn't go in the net, and we managed to get over the line, and hopefully that'll give us half a chance. But we know we're going to have to be a lot better at Portman Road than we were against, like I say, no disrespect, a very average Crew Alexander side. But I'm hoping it'll be a closer game than it was only 3 or 4 weeks ago, because that was 4-0 to Ipswich. It was 3-0 after 15 minutes. It was done. Steve Evans was sacked the next morning. One person that scored in that game was James Norwood. I did watch a YouTube interview that you did on the Talking Town podcast with your colleagues with James Norwood. Seems to be that you wasn't a fan at the start of the season, which I can understand because strikers are judged on goals, and we all say they do other things and they do this, but I think it may have gone a little bit deeper. Is that fair to say? And obviously he's now picked up form. He's playing, he's scoring goals, and he's having a positive impact. And you had to take a few pelters.
Yeah, massive pelters. If anyone's like watching this, pop over and watch it, because it's well worth a watch. You know, he's
a good
big
laugh.
character.
I can vouch for that, and I'll put
he's
the
a good
link.
character, and it comes
description.
across, Matt. You know, we don't see all what goes on behind the scenes. That we spoke on there. He's had a lot of injury problems, but he said, I think he was probably on about Paul Lambert, brought him back too soon. You know, he had groin problems, and I've given him a lot of stick. Not so much for the stuff that he does on the pitch, because we know wherever he's been, you know, Tranmere Rovers, great goal record there. He come with a big rap, but some of his off the pitch antics, you know. But I think now I just seem like he's got his head down. He was out of the picture when Paul Cook was there, and that was the weird thing. No one knew if it was Paul Cook not playing him or it was Mark Ashton that his face didn't fit, you know. And it was interesting when Cook got sacked, he put a tweet out saying he got no problem with Paul Cook. So reading between the lines, you know. But now he's come into the team. He got 4 goals. He obviously got PFA Fans Player of the Month in December. He was sub on Saturday. I'd expect him to be back into the lineup Saturday home to you guys, and hopefully get back on the goal trail. He is out of contract end of the season. I think we've got a 12-month option. I think they said there's about 7 teams were interested in the window. I think Oxford. There were several teams, and I think personally, if he's fit, I would keep him for another year. I know he's 31 now, soon be 32, but if we let him go, he'll definitely go to a decent League One team, and it could come back to bite us. So I'd probably keep hold of him. It's just if he can stay fit, you know, that is the key. If he can stay fit, he will score goals in this league, and hopefully he'll bag a couple on Saturday against you boys.
Hope not. But yeah, I mean, the reverse fixture was we made it far too easy, and I think it just became very evident straight after the game. And even with the team selection, we were sat in the Rainham end and obviously the Medway stand and the Gordon Road stand at the Priestfield that afternoon, and we started with Robbie McKenzie, who's ultimately a fullback or a utility defensive player, and he started up front, and we were sitting there scratching our heads and thinking Steve Evans has lost the plot. And ultimately, it's ended up costing him with his job. Not just that game. We're not saying it's just the Ipswich defeat that cost him. I mean, we hadn't won since October the 19th up until Tuesday evening. So we've had reasons, but all clubs get injuries and stuff like that. And I've said it millions of times on various videos with different fans that if we end up relegated, it doesn't have an asterisk next to our name. It says unlucky with injuries and COVID. It just says relegated, and you just have to get on with it. Transfer window, obviously that's just come and gone. It slammed shut beginning of the week. See a few Ipswich fans on my timeline that obviously get retweeted by the likes of yourself and others, or different podcasts, etc., and weren't entirely happy, saying that there was too many outgoings. What was your makings of the 31 days of trading?
Well, he obviously signed Christian Walton on a permanent, which massive signing for me. You know, that's been a problem area since Bart left to Millwall. Bart was player of the season 3 seasons running, and he was one of the reasons why we stayed in the Championship so long. Yeah, and they really struggled to fill his boots. And Walton coming on loan, obviously from Brighton, and he's had quite a few loan moves. And it's like you get to 26, which he is now, and he obviously wants to find a permanent home, because you don't want to be sort of a nomad who's going around, you know, doing your loans season to season. But very good goalkeeper for this level. Really happy with him. We got Macaulay Bonnie staying till the end of the season. He's on a season-long loan. We signed Tariq Backinson from Bristol City. He's played the last 2 games. Not pulled up any trees so far, but look, early days for him. And then we signed Dominic Thompson, a left-back from Brentford, who's played a couple of times in the Premier League this season. He actually got man of the match for them against Man City, and he played Saturday, and he done all right, you know, first game. But we've had a few outgoings. We've trimmed down the squad, McKenna said today, because we signed 19 players, Matt, in the summer. You know, it's a massive turnover. And it was exciting as a fan, because there was so much content, you know. It was a signing. I went to a forum with Mark Ashton. I think they were averaging a signing nearly every 4 days, and you think, this is absolute crazy. When you look back on it now, you probably think they've probably gone a little bit overboard, but Cook did go in as demolition man, and he got rid of literally everyone. So you always know when you're signing a lot of players that not all of them are going to be a success. So we could say Scott Fraser, for example, you know, ripped it up in the league, done well at Burton, MK Dons last year. Just, he played 3 games in his proper position. He was shunted out to the left-hand side, and he's left for Charlton. But I was reading today, Kieran McKenna said he wanted to go. He wanted to be the main man. And he just got lost in the shuffle at Town. I think he's a very good player, Scott Fraser. And I probably would have kept him, but I understand if you're a footballer, not everybody, but if I was a footballer, I'd be wanting to play games. I wouldn't want to be training, sitting on the bench, sitting in the stand. So I can understand why he's gone. And McKenna said he's trimmed that squad down, because I think sometimes you've got too many players. You've got to try and keep everybody happy. You can only have 18 on a match day. We've got probably 6, 7 players who are just sitting in the stands. And you know what that's like. If things are not going well, someone's not playing, then they start to get a bit moany, and you don't really want that around the training ground. So I was quite happy with the business that we've done. I know a lot of people saying, oh, we should have signed more players. But I think as a fan, sometimes you just keep wanting, don't you? You keep wanting. And at the end of the day, we've got a wage bill, Matt, of 9 million. 9 million in League One. We're playing Burson Selena 21k a week.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's madness when you look at it like that. So you do have to balance the books. So I think he'll assess what he's got now. McKenna, we've got 17 games to go. He'll obviously make additions in the summer, but I always think January is a bit of a lottery when you're signing players anyway, isn't it? If sometimes you're signing people. Look, you've probably seen the Sunderland Netflix when they signed Will Grigg that time, and it was 1.5 million, and it went up to 4 million, and that's how clubs get in trouble. So, yeah, we've got a good squad. You'll see Saturday with the players that are probably on the bench. You think we're really lucky in this league to have that sort of quality. So I can't really take the moaning of fans saying, "Oh, we wanted more players." No, we've got a good enough squad. It's time now for the players to stand up, be counted, and get some results, you know, and get us up the league, because we can all blame managers, you know, he wasn't good enough, Cook, whatever, but the players do have to take some responsibility themselves. And we're 9th in this division, and I think the players will say to themselves, it's nowhere near good enough, you know. We're being realistic, we're probably going to spend a 4th season in League One. When we came here, everyone was saying, oh, yeah, we got relegated. Yeah, we'll go down, we'll regroup. It's a League One tour, do a few new grounds. You know what it's
I did
like
get
this
that
league.
impression. I got that
Yeah,
impression because there was another Ipswich fan podcast. I can't remember the name now, and I spoke to them before the game, the first game that you played at the Priestfield. It was about September 2019, your
yeah.
first season in, and I think you beat us
Lovely,
1-0.
lovely that day in the sun with no
Yeah,
roof on that stand.
yeah, it's not so nice at this time of year. You beat us 1-0. I think Kane Vincent Young scored, and we
Yeah,
switched off. But we gave you a real game, and I
yeah.
said at the end there was, I think it was your captain at the time. Was it Wolfenden or someone was giving it the large at the end of the game, and
That was when they were doing. That was when they were doing the things, Matt. When they all held hands and come to
that
the
was
away
it.
fans, and
And because we
I'm
said have they
thinking
just won the Champions League, and
exactly.
I got shot down by Ipswich fans, and they said no, we're doing this because we've been so beaten up over the last couple of years in the Championship that we're just enjoying winning. But I just got the impression then from some fans of Ipswich and the way you reacted to that win against Little Gillingham, and that's not me being patronising or anything. We're a tiny club compared to yourselves. And I just thought you was getting a little bit ahead of yourselves. And then the return fixture was Portman Road on Boxing Day,
0-0.
and I think we nicked a point, and everyone was moaning that we were taking our time and time wasting. We was doing all we can to get a point, and it just seemed like you was almost like, oh, we're being inconvenienced here. That's what it came across as from a Gillingham fan point of view.
I
But you
agree
soon
with you
quickly
there
get
now.
found out.
I still agree with you there now. There's still a lot of our fans are like, we should be beating these teams. We've got to beat these teams. We shouldn't be in this league. But you have to earn the right to get out of this league. You know, we've got all these good players that we've signed in the summer, but it's ultimately what happens at Saturday at 3 p.m. and like on a Tuesday night at 7:45, on the grass. You can all say we've got a great history from when Bobby Robson was there. That counts for nothing now. That
Exactly.
counts for nothing. We are a big team, and everyone, when they come to Portman Road, you'll see it Saturday. Gillingham will raise their game. They will raise their game, and they'll make it hard, like we had Accrington down there a couple of weeks back. Horrible team to play against, but it's you can't expect these teams to come down to ours and they're just going to roll over and there you go, the 3 points. Football's not like that. We know it's not like that, and we
totally agree.
That's why we're still in this league, because we haven't been good enough so far.
We might escape this league quicker than you. Just the wrong way. But
well, yeah,
technicalities. Right. In terms of team news, Neil Harris has done his press conference today. We've still got a couple out injured, sort of mid to long term. No Alex McDonald, he's out for the season. Daniel Adseed on loan from Norwich is still missing with a broken foot. Ben Reeves out for a couple of weeks with ligament damage, and I think there's going to be a big doubt over former tractor boy Mustafa Carriol. Unfortunately, went off with what at the time looked something very, very serious on Tuesday. There was about 10-minute delay. He sort of went up for a header, it looked like, and then got up and then just fell back down again. And the thing that concerned me was he was laying on his front for a good 5-6 minutes and there wasn't a lot of movement. And he went off on a stretcher. And then, like the Undertaker, just before the second half started, come walking back out from the Rainham end and along the touchline, and was obviously okay in comparison to what we thought was actually could be happening. And I must admit, I did think cardiac arrest, heart attack, that type of thing. It was quite scary for a while because we've seen far too much of it recently. But thankfully, Muzzy was okay.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure he's going to be fit for Saturday. He was limping quite heavily, and I think there might be some concussion as well. So I think the Gills team, I can't see Neil Harris changing it too much. I know he's been out and said that it was
Ben Thompson? What about Ben Thompson? Will he be playing?
He's available. Yeah, he wasn't registered in time for Tuesday, so whether he starts, I'm not sure. I know Neil Harris is a big fan, and he's from this way. He's from Sidcup, which is obviously in Kent, so it's a homegrown move type thing for Ben Thompson. Harris has said he might change it. It was a bit of a wing and a prayer, and no training sessions before Tuesday, and I totally agree. It probably was, but I can't see why he'd change too much after winning and keeping a clean sheet. So for me, I think it'd be Aaron Chapman in goal. Back three of Connor Masterson, Max Amer and Jack Tucker. Wing backs would be Robbie McKenzie and David Tatonda again. Stuart O'Keefe has just been confirmed as captain for the rest of the season in the wake of Carl Dempsey leaving, so he's probably going to start in the middle. I think it'd then be for me, it'd have to be between Thompson and Daniel Phillips to start. I wouldn't play Ollie Lee, who's technically more an attacking midfielder. I'd like to play two natural sitters because we're going to be under the cosh for large periods, I'd imagine. Danny Lloyd in the 10, and then I'd obviously bring Verdane Oliver back into the starting 11 for Mustafa Carriol alongside Charlie Kelman. What's the injury situation up there? What would your predicted 11 be for Saturday?
We've got well, Sam Morsey's obviously suspended 4 games. He's still got another 2 games. Obviously,
Well,
we've all seen
wasn't it, off the ball a couple of weeks ago?
Well, it was against Accrington. A lot of people said it wasn't a punch. Andy Holt obviously got involved, and you've seen the tweet that he put out. I don't think that probably helped. So he's got a 4-game ban, the extra game because he got a red card when he was at Middlesbrough. So Lee Evans has been injured. I see today McKenna said they're going to assess him tomorrow. He's had a groin injury. He pulled up in the warm-up when we played Accrington. So I think with that sort of, we'll assess him tomorrow. I'd expect him to probably play. We've got Doncaster away on Tuesday. I think he'll probably be back for that. Other than that, we've got a pretty good clean bill of health. Matt Penny, the wing-back, he's fit again. But I think Thompson, the lad from Brentford, he's only made his debut last week, so I see no reason to take him out. So Christian Walton will be in goal. We play normally a back 3. George Edmondson, Luke Wolfenden, and Oidanasio. And then we got wing backs, Dominic Thompson on the left, and you got to look out for Wes Burns because he's been absolutely hot this season. I think he's got 8 goals already.
Terrorised us in that game at the pre-season.
He's had a great season. He was our first signing, Matt, and he come from Fleetwood with not a lot of fanfare, free transfer, and he's probably been, I'd say, arguably he's been our best signing. So he'll be on the right. Normally we have 2 in the middle. So with Evans out, he played Backinson, and Idris El Mazouni played at Hillsborough last Saturday, and he was coming from the cold a little bit. They said he was going to go out on loan. Good young player, but I think Tom Carroll missed out because his missus gave birth. So I think he'll come back in, and I reckon Backinson will probably keep his place. If Evans is fit, Evans plays for me all day long. They missed him. I've been quite critical of him this season, but they really missed him on Saturday at Wednesday. They had no one in the middle there to take control and get on the ball. I think the last home game against Accrington, he played two 10s. He played Bursant Salina and he played Connor Chaplin. But this is what I'm saying about, people were saying about the lack of signings. We've got an abundance of number 10s. We've got Sonny Aluko who can play. We've got Connor Chaplin. We've got Salina. Then you go to the strikers. You've got Macaulay Bonne, James Norwood. No one's talking about Joe Pigott, Matt. He's coming to town.
I did like a blog piece at the start of the season. I did key signings in the division. Joe Pigott for me was an absolute belter of a signing. I had Raheem Harper. I thought was going to be a good. He's gone out on loan to Cheltenham.
Crewe.
Crewe, sorry, not to, he went to Crewe, but he wasn't registered in time to play Tuesday evening, thankfully. But yeah, it's like you've said, and I sit here in awe when I look at the Gillingham squad. And no disrespect to our players, but there's levels in everything that we do in life, and you're miles above us in terms of resources, and I get that. To be sitting there grumbling. I tweeted the other day, didn't I? I got grief off a few Sunderland fans. I said, to be sitting there grumbling about sacking my manager when we're sat in third.
It's like Pigott. I think we had a season preview show. We predicted who'd be the leading scorer for Town. I said Joe Pigott would get 24 goals.
I said he would.
He's got 3 goals. One in the he scored actually against you in the
scored against
Johnson
us. He always scores against us.
And then he's got a couple. Well, his first goal at Burton away, I think they gave it to him. It looked more like an own goal, and then he scored a penalty against AFC Wimbledon, and he's just not had the minutes. But I think on Saturday, I think we'll go 3-5-2. Obviously, you get your 2 players in midfield. Number 10, it really is a toss-up who you're going to play. Aluko is a really good player, but he's not got the goals. Connor Chaplin's probably been the best 10. I think he's got 8 this season. But then you've got Bursant Salina, who you've got on the season-long loan, and he's a talented player. He's a bit of an enigma because he's not consistent, and he probably should be playing at a higher level. He probably shouldn't be playing at League One, but he's playing at League One for a reason. So if it was down to me, I'd play Chaplin, 2 up front. James Norwood definitely starts, and then Macaulay Bonne. He had a great start to the season. He was banging goals in for fun. He's only scored 1 in, I think, the last 15, and that was against you. I think he got the 3rd goal. It was a tap-in. Me or you could have put it in. And he's worked really hard, but I just think he was at the Town Academy when he was 14, right? Mm-hmm. And then they said they released him because he was too small. He's an Ipswich fan. When we played AFC Wimbledon earlier in the season, he was injured, and he sat in the stand with a shirt on with Bonn 18 on the back. He's a fan. This is where I think he gets a lot of slack from our fans. If it was, say it was Joe Pigott who was playing and he'd score 1 goal in 15, I think people would be quite critical of him. Mm-hmm. But I think because Macaulay's obviously a Town lad, Town through and through, I think he gets a bit of an easier ride. I'll take him out the firing line. I'll play Bonne and I'll play Norwood and I'll play Joe Pigott, because I think Joe Pigott, sooner or later, you've got to give him a run. We've got 6 games in February. I'd say to Joe, right, you're playing, unless you get injured, you're going to play 6 games, and let's see how you get on, because he can't be happy, Matt, sitting on the bench, you know.
No.
He's come there from AFC Wimbledon being the main man, and he's played hardly any football. I'd be really surprised if he was there come next season. I think our front line could look a whole lot different when we
Was there
start the season
rumours of
again
a
in
loan
August.
move to Cambridge? I'm sure I saw that during the window.
Yeah, that was on Monday. He was obviously, he'd been at Cambridge when he was younger on loan, and it didn't work out for him. And I thought, that's a bit of a strange one. And I know Joe Ironside's and they might be looking for a replacement, but I thought, no. So I think he'll see out the season, and then in the summer,
we'll see where we go. Yeah.
If he left, but if there are a lot of teams looking to sign him, it's just sometimes these players. It's like, go back to Scott Fraser. You know, some players, they just don't fit. You know, they've signed for a club and it just doesn't work out. And that might be the case with Joe Pigott. It could be, but I'm a big fan, and I hope he gets some game time between now and the end of the season and scores a lot of goals.
He tends to score against us, so if you play him, invariably he'll get one. So he was with us a few years ago on loan when he was a kid, and then he dropped into non-league, didn't he? Before he went to Wimbledon at Maidstone, who used to be our rivals when they were in the league. So yeah, there's a Kent link with Joe all the time. So right, before I let you go, anyway, the big question: score prediction.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot tougher game than when we come down yours, because you were really poor. I've not seen such a poor, that first half. I just couldn't believe. I know you hadn't played because of COVID, you know, but you just made it so easy for us. And you probably got away that day with 4-0, because I thought it probably could have been. It could have been a 5, 6 or 7 line.
Well, it was just as bad, yeah. And like I say, I think you just eased off slightly less than Oxford did, because otherwise you could have declared.
But I think it's a home game. It's a game we have to win. You know, it's 3 points. Now is the time. We've got to be picking up 3 points nearly every home game. We've got 10 games out of 17 at home. We've got to win the majority of them. I think it'll be tough. I think Harris won't make it easy for us, but I'll go for a 2-0 Town win. I can't see anything other than a Town victory. You know, if I come out that ground at 5-5 Saturday afternoon without 3 points, I know you'd be delighted, but I wouldn't be happy at all. I'll go 2-0.
2-0. Yeah, I'm trying to obviously stay a little bit positive, and I think we'll be better than we were Tuesday, but we'll have to be, because Ipswich are better than Crewe Alexander. First and foremost, whether Neil Harris is going to have enough time in 2 or 3 days to actually get enough. Players have come out and said the amount of information they've had to take on in a short period of time has been really, really impressive. But whether there's enough to then go up to a team that's a different level to what we played on Tuesday night, I'm not so sure. My heart, being optimistic, says we might pinch a 1-1. My head's saying 2-1 to Ipswich, so I think you'll have too much. I mean, you just listed all the players. There's so many options to call on, even if it is 1-1 with 15, 20 minutes to go. You're going to be bringing on a Selena or a Chaplin or a Pigott or a Bon or a Norwood or an Aluko or someone like that. So that's going to be, I think that could ultimately, if it is a tight game, that could be what swings it your way, because you're going to have so many more options on the bench than we will. So yeah, heart hoping for a draw, but I think Ipswich will pinch it.
I think you'll just probably want to see some improvement, won't you, between now and the end of the season with Harris? Like, looking forward to next season. Put a few building blocks in. If you go down, you go down, but don't go down with a whimper. At least you want to see something going forward to next season.
And Saturday's effectively a free swing. We play Cambridge at home on Tuesday, and then we go to Morecambe the following Saturday. If we lose Saturday and then win the next 2, we'll be absolutely. I'll be happy with that, and it'll give us a chance. But all we can keep doing at the moment is just trying to tag ourselves onto the team that's immediately above us and see how far it takes us. But yeah, I think the main thing is that we need to be looking to more mid and long term, because it is going to be a huge ask to stay up.
Yeah, I can't. How many points are you from safety?
8.
Yeah, and the games start right. It's like us with 9 points, and you think 17 games is quite a lot of games, but then you get February, obviously short month. By the end of February, 6 games are gone. You're down to 11 games, and you think we're 9 points. We're 9 points behind 6th at the minute. If you get to February and you're still 8 or 9 points, you think you're not making that up in 11 games.
No, because then you've got to gain. You're then gaining. You've got to gain a point a game, pretty much, and that gets very hard. But I know it's probably easier in our situation. No disrespect, because there's more chance if we do go on a run, the other teams are not playing that well, whereas you're trying to catch the teams that are all playing well and are all in good form and have generally been consistent all season. But we shall see. I shall hopefully we'll try and catch up Saturday if we get time. It depends what time I get there. I am driving, but I'll drop you a message and
come on down.
Mainly, thank you very much for coming on and taking time out your evening. And missing your son's football.
I'd say good luck for the rest of the season, but not on Saturday, Matt.
No, that's fine. Absolutely feel exactly the same. Right, Gills fans, you know where we are. I will put all Crunchers details and all the Talking Town podcast details and the James Norwood interview in the description at the bottom of the video. Please come on and give us your score predictions for Saturday, whether you're an Ipswich fan or a Gillingham fan. Please continue to give Cruncher pelters for his slanderous comments towards James Norwood throughout the campaign.
I've got broad shoulders. I can take it. Don't worry.
You have to, don't you, being a football fan? We'll be back Saturday for a match day live. But until next time, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the start of your weekend. And up the Gills.